Alright, y'all ready for one of those videos where we make fun of idiots on Twitter for a while and then I transition into an actual point for the final couple minutes? I mean, that's basically been every video I've made since I've come back. And also probably like a fair amount of the videos before. Jeez. But today's topic is cultural appropriation. You guys all know what cultural appropriation is, right? On Urban Dictionary, cultural appropriation is defined as when a different culture adopts cultural traditions of another culture. This is a very common process in diverse locations and open-minded people in which multiple cultures accept and adopt others' traditions. This is rarely a bad thing. Examples of when cultural appropriation is when the Nazis adopted the swastika from Indian religions and therefore gave it a bad name. I assume this is like an example of it being bad, hopefully. The barbaric philosophy of social justice warriors conclude that cultural appropriation is a grave sin. This SJW philosophy has very common traits with racial segregation, apartheid, racism, and likewise. Although SJWs believe that they're politically correct, this racist, barbaric philosophy can easily be categorized under hate speech, discrimination, or racism, or in the support of thereof. Now, you can tell that this is a Urban Dictionary page that hasn't been touched recently, because a few years ago, I think sometimes after October 17th, 2018, Urban Dictionary went woke as fuck. Basically, the idea is if you're from culture A and you enjoy something from culture B, or even worse, you practice it or you embody it or you somehow do it yourself, or even worse still, change it, that is cultural appropriation. And generally the people who actually think this is a problem, they're insufferable. Newsflash, using Asian names and characters online as your persona when you're not Asian at all is racism, but we all overlook it under the guise of appreciation. It's fetishizing an entitlement to a culture that you choose to participate in. If you're white and you eat sushi with chopsticks, congratulations, you're a colonizer. Wow, wow, wow. This white woman just opened a clean Chinese restaurant in New York City called Lucky Lee's. Not only is she using Chinese food stereotypes in naming, she is shaming traditional Chinese food cooking with MSG, grease, and starch. Listen, Lanya Olmsted, you do not seem nearly Asian enough to be complaining about this. You gotta spend some time in Asia and see the way that many restaurants there do exactly the same thing in reinventing American food, complete with silly puns and culturally appropriated decor in the location. Do you want multiculturalism or not? These people have so few problems in life, they have to find shit like this to complain about online. Here's Mombot, and man, you know, I miss Mombot. I wonder what she's doing nowadays. Cosplay is a product of Japanese otaku culture. Otaku often dress up as characters with fair or dark skin. There is no element of racism. Those otaku love those characters. This is in reply to someone called Deku Flower saying, in case it wasn't clear, don't darken your skin for cosplay. There is a dehumanizing history behind it. The story here basically is that some people will change their skin tone for cosplay, and I guess Western people are comparing it to blackface, even though blackface as a way to make fun of somebody is a specifically Western thing. And there is something satisfying seeing an actual Japanese person tell these idiots off. I read through all the tweets concerning cosplay and skin color, and this one's striking to me. Is jealousy one of the factors contributing to this mindset? How tiresome. This is in reply to a darker-skinned cosplayer saying, so the fact that white-passing cosplayers can just put on makeup to look like POC is upsetting, because POC cosplayers, especially black cosplayers, can't do this. Our features are also racially coded, and we can't just cover our skin and magically be white for a day. Well, I mean, Aquila obviously did do it in that one video. This is honestly some racial segregationist shit. They're really saying stay in your own lane. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. This is a post by someone who's half Japanese. So I saw your last post about cultural appropriation and I completely agree. I'd like to ask your opinion on whether or not you think it's okay for me to learn Japanese because my mother is Japanese. And here's the reply. I would say don't learn it. The damage has been done by your father. He's either robbed a Japanese woman of her heritage, or he has committed appropriation by adopting Japanese culture. It's best to minimize the damage. Stick with English. The best thing you can do is to appropriate Western culture and reform it so it's not imperialist. That is the best way to repair the damage. Literally, when you're so woke, you fall back on the one-drop rule. You want people and cultures to be segregated for racial purity. What's the difference between the left and the right again? At this point, I can't fucking tell. Why you shouldn't be doing a hego if you're not Asian. Dude, there goes the entirety of Belle Delphine's career. A key point in understanding why this isn't ethical for non-Asians, especially white people, to do, is acknowledging that there are stereotypes specific to the sexuality of women of color which constantly disempower us. Examples are the angry black woman and the submissive Asian slut. While it's often argued that it's merely an unbecoming, funny O-face that anyone in the throes of pleasure can pull, we have to remember the context it's most often used in. It's most often performed by underage, or at the very least infantilistic female characters in hentai manga, who are overwhelmed by pleasure without their consent. It is an extreme version of the submissive slut ideal thrust upon Asian women, that we are timid, shy, childlike, and innocent, but with a hidden appetite for sexual pleasure that can be coaxed out of us with aggressive sexual advances. Like all social constructs, a hego and the larger submissive and exotic Asian slut stereotype is made in service of the sexist, racist status quo. And like other social constructs, it can be reclaimed only by the people it has suppressed. The same way that only black people can use the N-word. All other non-black people, especially white people, cannot use it. Oh my god, dude. Your O-face is not the same as dropping a gamer word. Why do so many white people speak non-white languages? Cultural appropriation is a real issue, okay? One of the worst cases of this is in the realm of second languages. Caucasians love to appropriate cultures through language as a way to intrude on the lives of those who might not speak their language. It's seen as fun or interesting. Oh god, I can't find the post right now, but it kind of reminds me of that one person who said, "Why do white people gotta learn Spanish? Can't they learn a European language?" And read this. Caucasians love to appropriate cultures through language as a way to intrude on the lives of people who might not speak their language. So they're literally saying, oh god, why can't I shit talk this white person to their face in a different language? They might know what I'm saying about them. How dare they intrude? It's like, fuck you. How would you not be a bitch? Remember earlier when I said I can't tell the difference between the left and the right? Well, right now, and there'll be a future video on this at some point, but right now, leftists are noticing all this regressive shit coming out of the left, and they're saying, that's not real leftism, that's liberalism, that's rad libs, that's radical liberals. You think so? You really think so, eh? Very much enjoying practicing with my new calligraphy pen. From an account with the Socialist Rose and a hammer and sickle in their name. Get fucked, liberal. Cultural appropriator. No. This comes from the left. Let's talk about appropriating deities. We're at the point that your beliefs are also appropriation if you believe in the wrong god. We must also segregate the pantheon. Imagine being such a little shit that you actually think it's okay to tell people which gods to worship. Like, this is what the colonizers did when they came over to North and South America. Of course, it's not just Twitter nonsense. People are actually publishing articles about this stuff. Why do fast casual restaurants get a pass on appropriation? White-centered food narratives appear most often at major chains. It's time to hold them accountable. How dare my Taco Bell not be authentic? Belgian DJ Netsky apologizes for a video depicting cultural appropriation of the Maori at America's Cup after party. Imagine being such a cuck that you actually apologize for this shit. Like, I'm sorry I had a video of something Maori in my thing, and I'm not Maori. In the reckoning over cultural appropriation, should Indian Motorcycle change its name? Who fucking cares? Who cares about this shit? And of course, guys, it's not just, racial cultures, but it's also queer culture. The difference between appreciating and appropriating queer culture. How to wear a jean jacket and beanie without appropriating bi culture. Is Taylor Swift's new LGBT anthem an example of allyship or appropriation? Why does any of this matter? Yeah, they're literally saying that, eating an ethnic food or something, or enjoying some kind of practice outside of your culture is literally blackface, and you might as well be a colonizer and a slaver yourself. Like, here, look at this person. She's an idiot. She looks like an idiot. Okay. Would you call her, a racist or a colonizer or a slaver? No. I just call her stupid. Also, I know that I'm not the only person who's noticed. This seems to only go one way. Is it cultural appropriation when an African American dancer makes a video of her doing Irish dance? Apparently not. There's no outrage. And what about trans stuff? If we're accepting that the dumbass idea of cultural appropriation is real, how is it not appropriating trans culture to fake being trans for clout? And come on, guys. Come on. I know it's an unpopular thing to say, but don't act like it doesn't happen at least some of the time. Maybe we can just take any immutable characteristic, or hell, any characteristic about your personality, and claim it's a culture, and then claim that if you're involving yourself in it while not being part of that culture, you're appropriating. Is it possible to appropriate gamer culture now? Is that what all the casuals have been doing this whole time? All the moms with their Facebook games and all the phone games and everything else? Are they appropriating gamer culture? Are we at the point where if you're not actually a slut, you shouldn't be doing slutty costumes for Halloween? Because that's appropriating slut culture? When black people use the N-word, is it cultural appropriation because white people invented it? Here's the ethnic studies curriculum from California. Check this out. From kindergarten to grade 12. Of course, you have the usual nonsense. You're challenging racist, bigoted, discriminatory, imperialist, colonial beliefs and practices on multiple levels. You have to conceptualize, imagine, and build new possibilities for a post-racist, post-systemic racism society that promotes collective narratives of transformative resistance. This is not shit that grade school kids should be, frankly, that anyone should be doing, but that grade school kids should be doing. The solution, according to the curriculum materials, is to offer oppositional stories and counter-narratives that name, speak to, resist, and transform the hegemonic Eurocentric neocolonial condition. Which includes, by the way, a counter-genocide of the original oppressors. There is an ethnic studies community chant in this curriculum, where they appeal to various Aztec gods. The god listed here, by the way, is the god of human sacrifice, so that they may be warriors of love to represent justice. Literally, when you get so woke, you demand your students to pray to an ancient Aztec god demanding human sacrifice because white people are evil. Now, why isn't this cultural appropriation? I mean, do you think that it's being held up by, like, an original Aztec citizen who's been resurrected, 1,000 years later? This is the thing about cultural appropriation. It's simply swung around as a tool, as a hammer, as something to bludgeon people with to get them to fall into line. They do not actually care about cultural appropriation. In fact, nobody does. Because here's the honest truth. All cultures have appropriated from all other cultures throughout human history. Every culture has had slaves. Every culture has been a conqueror. Every culture has been the conquered. The entirety of human history is a mess of conquered peoples and conquerors, of empires rising and falling, of invention, reinvention, of cultural contamination, of ideas moving between different societies, and frankly, the entire thing is just a work in progress. Somebody in China might have invented something, and then somebody in India might have improved on it, and then somebody in, say, Persia improves on that, and then it gets to Europe, and somebody there improves on it. That is the history of human civilization. It's all cultural appropriation. The only people who complain about it at this point are, like, legit racial supremacists. The people who have been screaming multiculturalism, but have actually simply wanted cultural dominance. They just want it to be their culture instead of Western culture. And no, it's not consistently anti-white at all. Recently, there's been a string of attacks from black people on Asian people. And there's definitely been a lot of instances of black people, of Muslim people, screaming about Asian people stealing black culture.
This establishment is not black owned, but you're stealing black culture. Is this not black culture? Trap tea, the boba plug? No, you're thieves. Asian people stealing black culture once again. It's okay, you'll be exposed though. You're not black owned, you're stealing black culture.
Thank you for coming.
No, I came here because I thought it was black owned. That's why I came here. I told my friends I'm supporting a black business. This is not black owned. This is not black owned. Asian stealing black culture. Once again, you're a coon. Don't talk.
I'm a coon.
I can't because I didn't know it was black owned.
You already spent money on them.
I already did. But
because I'm tired of people.
Because you're a coon.
And then, of course, you have the big-brained Yakub types, the we was KANGS people, who literally believe that black people created everything.
Black people are the original Indians. When Europeans came to America, they didn't discover it. We discovered it. When they came over here, they said that our skin was so dark that it turned blue. The pyramids, the beautiful pyramids. This is Egypt. This is motherland of black people. This is where we came from. This is the most ancient civilization on the planet. These motherfuckers are colonizers and terrorists. The dark matter in space, that's called melanin, which is in black people. So we came from space as well, aliens. And of course, I have to mention the sun because as black people, we are literal plants. So we need the sun.
There is no difference between these idiots and the Nazis who crafted this idea of the Aryan race. It's all bullshit. It's a completely constructed mythos that allows bigots to justify something based solely on their blood, but none of it's actually true. If you ever wonder why I say stuff like the left is just as bad as the right, this is the reason why. These guys are completely indistinguishable from the Aryan Brotherhood to me. And if you ever actually encounter somebody who thinks that cultural appropriation is real, there's no reason not to simply treat them like a Nazi.